What women say about men behind closed doors. Video from Alexander Grace.
Settling with you. I have girlfriends in marriages right now who have settled with the nice, safe, secure guy we weren't all that attracted to. We didn't really want that much. We didn't have any chemistry with. We had meh sex with because we had to. Because the guy we actually felt passion and chemistry for doesn't want us. To us, it's like, well, damn, if you're putting up with it, well, okay, cool. If you're still here, cool. When you want to go, that's fine. But in the meantime, I got no one else. You're here to give it? Cool. I accept. But my God, I see how pathetic you are, and I will definitely use that to my advantage. We'd leave you in a heartbeat if someone better came along.
She speaks with so much contempt for the man who allows himself to be taken advantage of and used. I think that we've gotten so used to women calling like nice men like pathetic that we've kind of just become numbed to how toxic that femininity is. We forget how strange it is that women are like, oh, he's such a nice guy. Of course women find him disgusting. He lacks masculinity. Of course he's worthy of contempt. But why should a woman feel disgust? Like, think of all the other possible reactions she could have had. If she sees a nice guy with an undeveloped masculinity, she could approach him with friendship. They could have a platonic connection. Yeah, I don't find him sexually desirable, but I appreciate him as a person. I'm friends with him. Or maybe she feels protective, like, oh, this guy is not fully developed yet, but it kind of brings out like a motherly energy in me. I want to support him. I want to build him up, help him become someone great. I don't want to see the world hurt him. Or she could just respond with plain old compassion. You know, that emotion that women are supposedly famous for? He's a nice guy. I don't find him very attractive, but I feel bad for him. I hope the best for him, and I admire his effort. You know, just some basic empathy. All three of those responsibles would make sense. Like, they're logical ways to respond to a man that you might not feel attracted to, but you otherwise like and admire him. And for some women, that is how they respond. But for many others, their gut reaction when they see like a nice guy is to feel disgusted by him, as though his niceness or the weakness of his masculinity is somehow a personal attack, and she feels offended by him. Why, of all the reactions, do women feel disgust? Well, to understand that, you need to understand the way that women think. You need to understand the feminine psychology. Lots of women want to feel disgusted by men because it helps them maintain dominance over them, because women themselves have weak boundaries and so they need to rely on their emotions, and also because the feeling of disgust guarantees that she's not going to ever have to be reciprocal in a relationship. To think of female emotions as just random or chaotic is to underplay their significance in the female psyche. The emotion of disgust serves a very tangible, practical purpose. She leans into it because feeling disgust for men helps her. She wants to feel disgusted. I'm going to explain these three in detail, but for you guys who already know that women find nice guys disgusting and you're ready to change, you already know that it's not enough to just swing to the other side of the pendulum and just start being rude and unpleasant to women. Women aren't attracted to that either because it's just a reaction. Peak masculinity is self-referential and independent. It's self-amusing. It communicates status in a way that's not seeking approval. That's what women find attractive. But the question is, how do you demonstrate that? I'm talking, of course, about game.
Okay, so if you allow yourself to be used, they even know that you know that. They find you to be weak. And if you're in that position, I don't think you have a lot of options. You're a man without any options. Do they like people without options? They don't. They hate people without options. Somebody will be with you because they know that you have options and they are capable of even cheating on them. Let's say you have options and you are so disciplined, you are a man that is not capable of cheating. Do they still want you if that's the case? I don't think they still want you. They want to always be second guessing. They always want to feel like, oh, you might cheat on me. They always want to have your location. They don't want to feel so safe that they don't even have to have your location. They want to have your location. They like chaos. They like drama. They always want to be in their head to say, what is he doing now? Why hasn't he come home? Is he with other women? Not saying he should be the most untrustworthy person. No. Women want what other women want. So if she knows other women want you, That's what keeps them always on their toes, and that's what maybe will make them not to be discussed, because you're not gonna have, like, to say you don't have options and you allow yourself to be used.
Disgusting. Let's start with women's use of disgust as a method to maintain dominance. Understand that the feeling of contempt or disgust is not neutral. It is the psychological act of looking down on someone. If she feels disgusted by a man, then holding that position makes her feel superior. It gives her an ego boost, like she occupies the higher position in the hierarchy. She could try and connect with that individual, but for her, that feeling of superiority is more important than empathizing with him as a human being. And that's what contempt does. It's an emotional response designed to undercut that person's legitimacy of being seen as a human. When you feel disgust, you don't recognize the humanity in the other person. No, you just use them as a prop to make you feel better about yourself. So you see why women enjoy feeling disgusted by these nice men. It gives them someone to look down on. Women also feel disgusted by nice men because they have weak boundaries. She meets a nice guy, and yeah, he's a bit weak, he might lack some masculinity, but what's the big deal? You don't have to date him, you don't have to marry him, he's not a threat to you. You can be kind, you can be friendly to him, just maintain some boundaries. You're a fellow human, of course I'll treat you with some warmth and dignity. But my boundary is that I'm not available for dating. But this comes from a woman who has a strong sense of herself and she knows what her boundaries are. She's not worried that her being nice to a man means that she's going to get suckered into marrying him. But for a woman who has weak boundaries and a very poor sense of self, she doesn't trust her own decision making. She doesn't have her values and her priorities clearly laid out. And so she comes to overly rely on her emotions to help her navigate through life. She welcomes the feeling of disgust when she meets a nice guy because that emotion is protecting her in a sense. Like, oh, I'm in no danger of being suckered in by this guy if he is disgusting to me. But it's really embarrassing that there are women who would have to rely on that emotion just to maintain some boundaries, because disgust is an incredibly strong sensation. It means that you're living very close to survival. Like, it's a strong bodily reaction. You feel it viscerally inside yourself, and you're generating that emotion inside yourself just by meeting a nice guy, reducing him in status from human to potential contaminant. Like, oh gosh, stay away. No, I don't want to get infected by you. It's incredibly dehumanizing, and lots of men will take it personally, like there's something wrong with them. No. If you're a nice guy and she's treating you with disgust, that says everything about her. And the last reason that women will feel disgust is because they want to avoid reciprocity. This one is so difficult for men to understand because it's really just this giant chasm between the male psyche and the female psyche. We just experience and see the world so differently in this regard. Because men are wired to build and create and protect. That's what feels natural to masculinity, but you've got to realize that women are not experiencing the world the same way. What feels natural to a woman is to receive. When she receives your resources, receives your protection, then she's at peace. She's like, yes, this is how it should be. It's why they're attracted to strong, competent men, because he has so much to offer her that she can consume.
Whether a man have resources or doesn't, I think maybe let's just put a distinction here what being nice is. So a nice guy can even be a millionaire, or he can be broke. So when women don't like nice guys, whether you're broke or you have resources, they're not gonna like you. When you have resources, yes, those are the ones the lady at the beginning of the video, she mentioned that they are able to marry you because you are compensating for those things that you lack socially. You are compensating with resources, and they'll stay with you. And that's the reason why you find that I think there are a lot of divorce cases after 4 years of being married. Why? Because they did it for resources, but after some years putting up with you're being nice and other things, they no longer feel like they can manage. They would rather take some of your money and then go have those guys that they crave. Have you seen the science here, guys? So for most people that settle down, they settle down with women that don't crave for them, that women don't really, chase them. It's women that are just tired. They've hit the wall and they are like, you know what? I didn't manage to get that Pookie, that Ray Ray. I better end up with Steve. And Steve has resources. He's worked so hard. And Steve is willing to do what needs to be done. They'll end up with Steve. Have 1 or 2 babies. 5 years later, she wants a divorce. She's willing to walk away. So this is what happens with women. What I've come to find out is it's easier for them to walk away from a nice guy than it is from a person that as nice to them as a nice guy. Someone who's not as a challenge as a nice guy. So if you are not a challenge, you're going to have some difficulties there, and then, so that.
But do you see why the nice guy is a threat to her? Because he wants something in return. If she can tell that what he's seeking in a relationship with her is approval or validation or support of some kind, then it sends off those warning signals like, oh no, this is not a relationship where I'll just be receiving. I will be expected to give something back in return. I don't want some man reliant upon me. There are many modern women who genuinely feel that they shouldn't give men anything. That's not their job. That's not their role. They are a queen. They're just meant to be given things. And so that fear of reciprocity is what generates this feeling of disgust as a sort of protection against that, because you're never going to feel pressured to be reciprocal with something that generates disgust, because that thing is just so lowly and terrible. And do you want to know the most fascinating part of all of this? It's so dark, honestly. You'd think, feeling so much contempt, feeling all of this disgust, that women would just avoid these nice guys. Like, oh no, keep them away from me. But that's not the case. Do you remember the TikTok of the woman at the start of this video saying that she has many of her girlfriends who married these guys, who tolerate him, and they have sex with them because they need to? It's so difficult for men to understand this. Like, women will meet a nice guy and feel contempt, feel disgusted by him, and yet still go on dates with him, still get into a relationship with him.
So for the guys who you like the least amount, where would you want them to take you?
Like a 5-star steakhouse.
And the guys you like the most, where would you go with them?
I would probably expect less, just because I like them.
But why make the man that you like the least amount invest more up front than the guys who you're more attracted to?
Because he's got to work for it. Since I like him the least amount, he's got to work for it. At least I'm giving him a chance.
You're the prize in a relationship.
Duh. Exactly. Why wouldn't we be?
Do you sense any shame, guilt, remorse? Because I don't. I just see like women explaining this as though it's the most obvious, natural thing in the world. Like, why are you being weird by even asking such obvious questions? But men don't think like this. We don't understand this. As a man, if you ever felt disgusted by a woman, would you go on a date with her? Would you marry her? Would you ever even consider it? No. Right? Like, it makes no sense. Why would I date somebody who disgusts me? That would be the most illogical thing in the world.
I mean, I think in as much as they can get the Ray Ray, the Pookie, the guy that makes them, feel some type of way, the guy they want to chase, the guy they are willing to do so much for, the guy that they are not even going to ask for bare minimum or even ask that you take them for a nice date, the guy that they are willing to follow or to go to his place on the first date, the guy that they're going to sleep with on the first date. At the end of the day, they don't want to be alone. They want somebody to pay their bills. They want somebody to be around. So if they can't get Ray Ray in them trying to fight the war, so that good guy at that particular time sort of becomes the person to save them from the war. You understand? So they're gonna marry you because they are fighting the war. I'll tell you this. I think maybe that's also the difference between if you are a man, let's say you are late 20s, you're 28, 27. If you are dating women around that your age range, you're dating women that are over 25. Mostly those women are gonna marry you because they are trying to be saved from the war. But if you are seeing a 22-year-old or 23-year-old, she has no reason to be nice to you. Why? Because she's not fighting the war. So you find out, you do a litmus test, you try to date a 7 or 8 around the age of 22 when you're 28 or so. And then you try to date the same woman around 28 of the same age or 29. Who's also an 8. You see the difference as to why. Because another woman is gonna act in a certain way, or she'll make you feel like you're the most special thing there is compared to the younger one. The younger one is not gonna give a damn about you. You see that she likes you so much, and you see she'll care about you. But if she doesn't, she finds you to be a nice guy, she's not gonna tolerate you. Trust me, she's not gonna tolerate you. And you actually see it, the way she'll treat you, you'll be able to see it, that she doesn't like you. But for an older woman fighting the war, she'll know it, that you're a good guy, and she's disgust, but she'll be able to put up with you. Because you are like, how can I say, you are the backup plan. You are the guy to save her from the war. I'm just saying here, guys. Thanks for watching and subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next one.